Engine starting problem. A good knowledge of what makes an engine start and run will help us to understand the complaint in the right perspective. Internal combustion engine draws energy for its running from heat liberated from combustion of fuel. For burning, we need fuel, air and heat. The air-petrol mixture has both petrol and air. To enable easy combustion, the mixture should be combustible. Right air-fuel ratio, proper mixing and atomizing the mixture makes it combustible. A light blue spark from the spark plug at the end of the compression stroke initiates ignition of the compressed mixture. Burning of petrol causes gas expansion, forcing the piston down. This is power stroke, the working stroke. In the last stroke of the four-stroke cycle, the upward moving piston expels burnt-out gases through the exhaust system components. Carbon accumulation in exhaust pipe or silencer causes restriction to gas flow. The complete gases would not get removed now. The exhaust gases that remain in the cylinder dilute the fresh gases that are drawn in the suction stroke, causing starting problem. Let us now troubleshoot a starting complaint. Engine starting becomes difficult due to many reasons. Petrol not reaching carburetor, too low engine cranking speed, compression pressure less than 6.8 kgs per centimeter square, too rich air-petrol mixture, too lean air-petrol mixture, weak spark or no spark, too far advanced or retarded ignition timing. In case of starting problem, first check availability of petrol in the tank by pulling the petrol hose from the carburetor and turning the fuel tap on. Fuel flow from the hose indicates there is petrol in the tank. Petrol tap is not blocked and the air vent hole in the tank cap is clear. Stale petrol can also cause starting problem. A strong irritating odor indicates that the petrol is stale. Replace it with fresh petrol. The resistance felt on kicking the engine can indicate whether the drive is passing to the crankshaft. Kickstarter lever moves down without resistance for two reasons. Clutch slippage, kickstarter slippage. In these cases, as the cranking speed becomes very low, the engine may not start. Vehicle speed not increasing with engine RPM indicates clutch slippage. The clutch slippage may be due to no clutch lever free play, stuck clutch inner cable, stuck clutch rod, distorted steel plates, worn out or burnt friction plates, weak clutch pressure springs. To rectify the problem of clutch slippage, check and adjust the clutch lever play to 2 to 4 mm. Replace the clutch inner cable if stuck with new cable assembly. After fitment, the lever should operate effortlessly. Clutch rod sticking takes place mainly due to bent rods or due to lack of grease around the rods. Replace the rods if bent. Clean and grease the rod if dry and dirty. Steel plates are checked for distortion with a feeler gauge on a surface plate. Replace the plates if distorted more than 0.3 mm. Check the friction plates for wear by measuring its thickness with a micrometer. For data, check the service manual. Burnt plates can be identified by its charred surface and burnt smell. Replace the friction plates if worn out or burned. The clutch spring is weak if the length of the clutch spring is less than 30 mm. If so, replace the clutch spring. Damaged kickstarter pawl as it slips causes the kickstarter lever move down without resistance. Kickstarter lever moving down with normal pressure on kicking indicates that the engine is getting properly cranked. Lower engine compression pressure is another cause of starting difficulty. Engine compression pressure is checked with a compression gauge. Compression pressure between 6.8 kg per centimeter square to 7.8 kg per centimeter square is the right pressure for bullets. In the absence of compression gauge, a rough check may be made by closing the spark plug hole with thumb and kicking the engine several times. From the pressure felt on thumb, we can decide whether the compression is within the acceptable range or not. Lower engine compression may be due to loose spark plug, tight tappet adjustment, leaky decompressor, loose cylinder head nuts, leaky valves, damaged cylinder head gasket, worn out or scored cylinder wall, or glazed cylinder wall. Petrol, we had seen, is coming up to carburetor. We also have seen that the engine is cranking properly and the engine compression pressure is okay. Next, check whether the petrol is reaching the combustion chamber. Close the spark plug hole with thumb. Kick the engine several times. Petrol deposit on thumb indicates carburetor overflow. It would lead to starting problem. The causes and remedies of the carburetor overflow are dirt on float needle valve, clean the needle valve and its seat, stuck needle valves, spring-loaded plunger. Tap the plunger and see it is becoming free. If not, replace the needle valve. Scored or worn-out needle valve also leads to overflow. Replace if found to be worn out or scored. The float height should be between 28 mm to 30 mm. Too low float height causes overflow and starting problem. Correct it by adjusting it to the right height. Punctured float doesn't rise with the petrol in the float chamber, causing overflow. Replace the punctured float assembly. Choke is provided to supply additional petrol to compensate condensation losses in cold engines. Choke, remaining open on warm or hot engines, leads to supply of too rich mixture to engine, causing starting problem. Ensure that the choke lever is in closed position while starting a warm engine.